each.
Mic check 1 2. What it do? Welcome back to the Mic Check podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today we're talking about NFL Week 2. But before we get into the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and go ahead and drop comments on this video and other videos if you choose to do so. If not, just keep supporting the channel with your views, and we'll appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it. NFL Week 2, if you're a fantasy football player, be sure to go ahead and set your lineup, check those inactives, check those healthy scratches, etc., just to make sure you don't have a zero position in your lineup this week. All right, going forward, let's go ahead and talk about Thursday's game. We had the Eagles and the Vikings. The Eagles beat them 34-28. This game was a little bit closer than many expected, but there were fireworks and explosiveness throughout. Jalen Hurts did his thing. Devontae Smith definitely did his thing, and Kirk Cousins kind of balled out. But it just goes to show that you could ball out in a loss. Kirk Cousins has never been one to shy away from big stats. It's just often it didn't lead to victory, and Thursday night was one of them. Games coming up today on Sunday in the early slot. You've got the Bengals and Ravens in Cincinnati. There's a chance for Joe Burrow to get this bounce back after getting a big contract. We'll see how that goes. But the Ravens always bring a defense. And then, of course, they've got the sizzling Lamar Jackson on the other side of the ball. So we'll see how that goes. Lions are going to be hosting the Seahawks. Lions came off week 1 upset to go ahead and be 1-0 at this point. And we're going to see what Geno Smith can do against their defense. You've got the Texans hosting the Colts, and this is going to be 2 rookie quarterbacks getting their shine. You got C.J. Stroud, you got Anthony Richardson, and this should be a good game. Again, a noon slot. If you got CBS or Paramount Plus, you might be able to get this game, especially if you live here in Texas. Buccaneers and Bears are going to be in Tampa today in the noon slot. Jags hosting the Chiefs. We'll see if the Chiefs can get their little bounce back or whatever the case may be. You've got basically the face of the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes, against Trevor Lawrence, who is the face of the Jaguars and a pretty good quarterback, but he has had some ups and downs. Also in that slot, you're going to see Falcons hosting the Packers, Bills hosting the Raiders, Titans hosting the Chargers. Those are going to be your noontime games or 1 o'clock kickoff for the East Coast folks. Heading down to that 3 o'clock, 3:05, 3:25 slot, you got the Rams hosting the Niners, so that's going to be a divisional battle. Cardinals and Giants, NFC matchup. This is at 3:05. 3:25, you got the Cowboys hosting the Jets, so we're going to get a good look at the Jets post Aaron Rodgers, so to speak. It has been confirmed, obviously, that he tore his Achilles on the 4th play of his career as a Jet, and it's looking like Zach Wilson. I hadn't heard any specific trade rumors about quarterbacks that the Jets might be targeting. So I think they're going to see over the next couple weeks what Wilson can do with all the tools and the defense he has, and maybe a different mentality, knowing that they replaced you and now you have a second lease on life. Broncos are going to be hosting the Commanders in Denver at 3:25. And then tonight you're going to see the Patriots host the Dolphins. This is another division game. And here's a little nugget to throw out there. Tua, I hate trying to say that dude's name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Quarterback for the Dolphins. He is 4-0 against the hoodie. So Belichick has never been able to beat that dude. So it's going to be interesting if the Dolphins go ahead and beat the Patriots in New England. Also, I know that Hoodie typically struggles in Miami. So if they don't beat him this time, he really don't have a lot of success playing that team in Miami. So if he wants to make some noise in the division, it's going to start with games like this against divisional foes, obviously. And if he wants to get back to the playoffs, this game is going to be a must-win, even at this juncture of the season. On Monday night, you've got 2 games about an hour apart, which is a little different from the traditional 2-game Monday night setup. Instead of a game playing and then them playing another at the conclusion, you're going to have the 6:15 kickoff for the Saints-Panthers in Carolina. And then you're going to have a 7:15 kickoff for the Steelers and Browns in Pennsylvania. So, you're going to have to pick which one you want to watch. But you know which one I'm watching. I'm watching Saints-Panthers, and that's what it's going to be. And that's the bottom line. And that's going to conclude week 2. Probably going to avoid predictions this year because, it's hard to track. If I'm not going to sit down and really track my wins, losses throughout the year, then there's no point in actually doing it. But all of that to say, I think that the season is off to a good start. There were some surprises in week 1. I think week 2 is going to present some surprises, but I think we're also probably right at the peak of the changeover from the old guard to the new guard. If you look around NFL rosters, the go-to guys, it's pretty much new faces everywhere. So we've had that actual turnover. A lot of your stalwarts or not the go-to man anymore. Like DeAndre Hopkins, for example, Michael Thomas is kind of like an afterthought in a lot of people's minds. And you've got this younger crop of quarterbacks and receivers and running backs that have taken over. If you just look back at, like, let's say, do a Google search for week 2 preview in 2020 or week 2 preview in 2021, and you look at the different graphics and stuff like that, similar to the one you see on the screen, you're going to see you might see players where none of them are in the league, because this is going to be the first week in like forever that Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, it's like a handful of quarterbacks that none of them are going to be starting. So that is kind of ridiculous to imagine, for those old folks like me that have been covering football for a long time, just how many things have changed. And it's pretty exciting to see the league has made that turnover, and there's a lot of good, exciting players on offense and defense. So looking forward to a great week 2. But this has been T for the Mike Check Podcast. Who you rooting for this week? Drop it down in the comments. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.